30 seconds? Is that really enough for you? Is that really enjoyable? And come on, doesn't it get repetitive? I mean, the same thing again and again and again. Little to no variation. And don't you feel a sense of shame after? I mean, look at the amount of time you wasted. And you've got nothing to show for it. No lessons learned, nothing to brag to your friends about. And not addicted, you say. Well, what do you call it when you do it daily, or even multiple times a day? In your bed, in your bathroom, in the car, sometimes even when you're at work. Sure, it started innocently enough. You had just a few minutes to spare, and you said, hey, what else can I do if I have just 1 or 2 minutes? Sure, but before you know it, 45 minutes are gone, and you ended up with a repetitive stress injury on your pollex. Look, call me old-fashioned, but I just don't get the appeal of these 30-second short video clips that you see on TikTok or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. What did you think I was talking about? As someone who spends an inordinate amount of time on YouTube, I'm often at odds with some of my friends who spend a similar amount of time on these other platforms consuming short-form content. I've never really understood the appeal of it, so I decided to do some research. And what I found is interesting and also pretty frightening. Let me start by telling you a little bit about me and why I tend to be more biased towards your slightly longer format content. And when I say slightly longer format, I'm talking about 5 minutes to 15 minutes and not really anything much longer than that. Around 9 years ago, I stumbled across a channel on YouTube called Vsauce, and I was instantly hooked to the genre of edutainment. Yeah, edutainment. Education, but presented in an entertaining way. These are some of his videos from way back then. How much does the internet weigh? What color's a mirror? Why do we have 2 nostrils? What's the speed of dark? What got me so hooked on Vsauce were the questions were odd. They were odd in the sense that you never thought to ask them, but once you've heard those questions, you really want to know what the answer is. And Michael Stevens, who's the creator of Vsauce, would take these odd questions and use complex science but break it down in a simple digestible form so that within 10 to 15 minutes you understood a lot of core scientific concepts. At the same time, you've learned something interesting and unusual, and you kind of learn by accident. Like Vsauce, you have hundreds if not thousands of creators out there creating a lot of content that is interesting, well-researched, crisp, great graphics, and they also add in their own spin and unique humor and style to it, and I think it's a great storytelling art, clearly entertaining, but also has a strong educational value, and that's why I tend to be very biased towards what a platform like YouTube tends to offer. So now that I've highlighted that I'm a little biased towards longer form video, bear that in mind as I take you through the rabbit hole of my research into short form video content versus longer form content. So let me start by describing what I mean by short form video content. So to start with, short form video content is typically shot on one smartphone. It's meant to be consumed again on a smartphone itself. There's little to no video editing. Everything is done directly on the phone. That was odd. Video is shot in portrait mode and is typically anywhere from 15 seconds to 30 seconds to maybe a minute in length. And platforms where one would consume this would be TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and a whole host of other platforms. Now, comparing this to your more long-form content that I'm referring to. So this content is often shot with dedicated cameras. This is not, I'm using my smartphone to record this video because I'm an amateur. They often use dedicated microphones. I am, because I'm pretending to be a professional. Tend to use PC software for more precise and fine-tuned editing. I kind of do that. Don't do a good job though. They're often shot in landscape orientation as this video is. And they often tend to be more than 5 minutes long. Typical videos you see on YouTube and probably IGTV would qualify. So what are some of the advantages of this short form 30-second content? Low barrier to entry. anyone with a smartphone can make videos and consume videos. The short duration forces creators to be innovative and catchy and grab attention in the first couple of seconds, kind of inspiring a new form of storytelling, if you will. Content is short and therefore can be quickly consumed, and you can rack up tremendous views in a very short amount of time. The first person point of view of a lot of this portrait mode content kind of makes the audience feel a part of the action and gives birth to maybe a new form of storytelling. Low decision point and a frictionless experience, leading to avoiding the paradox of choice. This is a subtle but powerful sentence because, aside from making me sound very intelligent, it also speaks to the core principle that these short form video content platforms function on. Let's start with paradox of choice. And do check out my video on analysis paralysis. I'll link that in the description below. Basically, what I'm saying is that in today's day of video on demand, a lot of frustration and friction and high decision point happens when you're trying to choose what to watch, because you're presented with so much content. You don't know what genre to watch, what platform to watch it on, what specific channel. It's tough sometimes. Now, with these short-form video content platforms, they take the decision away from you, and that decision is made by the algorithm. So the only decision you really have to make is when to swipe up. Hence, low decision point, frictionless experience. So clearly, short-form content has its advantages. But it's some of these disadvantages that really worry me, and I'd like to talk about that in a bit more detail. We've surrendered choice for convenience, and we become passive recipients to what the platforms choose to show us. Not too dissimilar from the old days of television, where you had just one or two channels, no TV remote, and you would just sit back and watch whatever comes on TV. When I say you, it's probably your parents' generation. Might not be any of you necessarily watching this can relate, but believe you me, that's how television used to be. And that's kind of how we've come full circle here again, where we just consume whatever content is shown on the screen without really doing much thought. Now, basically, what are we consuming here, right? As far as I can tell, and again, bear in mind I'm biased, so apologies if I'm not doing a good job of representing this, but from what I can tell, it's largely dance videos, prank videos, or social challenge videos. They're all repetitive. But why is it so addictive, right? It's addictive because you're gambling. You see, each time you swipe up, you don't know what video is going to come next. Sometimes it's a great video, sometimes it's a mediocre video, sometimes it's a bad video. But every time it's a good video that you like, your brain gives you a shot of dopamine. It's not too dissimilar to playing the slot machine in a casino. You don't know what you're going to get, and when you get something, it's a variable reward and you enjoy it. The way our brain is wired is interesting, because we tend to find variable rewards a lot more attractive than your predictable rewards. So not knowing whether the next video is going to be fun or not is exciting. It's attractive and addictive to your brain. Every time you come across a video you like, it's addictive. It's in a way your brain is gambling on content. Now, another worry I have is reducing attention spans. Let's look at print media. People have moved away from your more long-form, hard-hitting editorial journalistic pieces to your more clickbaity, mindless, attention-grabbing tabloid snippets. Now, my fear is that the same thing is happening in the content space. People like us are moving away from watching interesting, insightful, edutainment content to your more mindless, trivial, but easy to consume short-form video. I think this will have a larger overarching impact on storytelling as a medium, and may even encourage creators out there to move away from quality and just focus on quantity of content. Content creators often rely on advertising, and advertisers rely on viewership. If viewership is moving towards trivial short-form content, then that's where the advertisers are going to go, that's where content creators are going to go, and suddenly, if the demand for insightful content is replaced by the demand for trivial content, then that's what we're going to get. Another possible victim of short-form content is possibly the music industry. We no longer listen to full songs. We listen to 10 to 20 second loops of the same popular songs. It's funny because I've got this friend that keeps telling me that, wow, I've never heard the rest of the song. I've only heard this chorus or this small looped portion. I had no idea this was the rest of the song. I had no idea this was the artist. I didn't even know the name of the song. I mean, if I was a musician, this is pretty discouraging. I would hate if musicians stopped making music and focused instead on 30-second jingles, for want of a better word. I need to be honest. I don't think short form video is all bad. In fact, it's therapeutic. There have been many times where I've just not felt like searching for content and I just let the algorithm find something for me. And I'll be honest, most often than not, it found something that I liked. But it needs to be in moderation. And unfortunately, the way this content is designed and delivered, it makes it addictive. You genuinely lose track of time when you're consuming this content. My request to the one or two of you that have still stuck with me through this entire video. Firstly, thank you. And secondly, if you must consume mindless content, try and also balance it with a little bit of intellectually stimulating content. And I promise you, a couple of weeks into doing that, you would feel at least 10% smarter than you do right now. And lastly, to the one or two viewers that stuck till the end, one bonus fact. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned a repetitive stress injury that could hurt your pollex. Well, pollex is the Latin word for thumb. If you've learned anything of use in this video, I request you to use your pollex and show me how much you care. On that note, this is Procon Grey, signing off. See you in the next one. Cheers.